The county fair hustle. Honor for General Beauregard was not a private matter. It wasn't some quiet internal code. Honor was a performance, and a performance needs an audience, preferably a paying one. This is why every October he'd get betwitched by the siren song of the Ashley County Fair. The fair was a grotesque and beautiful affair, smelling of diesel fumes, spun sugar, and damp livestock. It was a place for 4-H kids to show off their terrified pigs and for old men to lie about the tractors they used to own. For the general, it was his stage. He'd spend the week romping through the barns, clutching his big chief pen like a man trying to keep his insides from falling out. This year, his illusions of grandeur had reached a new entrepreneurial pitch. He'd convinced himself that he was not just a participant in the fair, he was a destination. He roosted on a bale of hay near the funnel cake stand, just outside the tent for the world's largest gourd. Next to him was a piece of cardboard he'd stolen from the back of Perline's truck, a sign hand-pecked into the wax coating. Photos with the general, a living legend, $5. He sat there for an hour, teetering with dignity. The big chief pen was polished, his comb was high, he looked ornamental, but the line was dead. People would walk by, look at the chicken, look at the sign, look at each other, and laugh. They thought it was part of the gourd exhibit. I was there to pick up a new alternator belt, and I watched the whole flop unfold. Beauregard's grandiose self-image was beginning to wilt. His feathers, which he usually held at a crisp 45-degree angle, were sagging. This was the insecure reality part of his day. Then I saw him do it, the hustle. He saw little Jimmy Puckett, a kid whose main hobby was clutching a sticky handful of cotton candy. The general hopped off the bale, romped over, and pecked at Jimmy's shoe. Jimmy looked down. The general looked at the sign, then at Jimmy, then at the $5 bill clutched in Jimmy's other hand. Then, with a sigh so deep it rattled his pen, the general teetered over to his own tin cup, the one marked Tips for Honor, and nudged a crumpled dollar bill out of it. He pushed it toward Jimmy. Jimmy, who was not a smart boy but who understood the basics of capitalism, looked at the dollar, then at the sign, then at the chicken. The general nudged another dollar out, and another. He ended up paying Jimmy Puckett $4 to take a $5 picture with him. But, as the narrator in his head probably told him, that's just the cost of doing business. And here's the grotesque part. It worked. Jimmy, now $1 richer and holding a Polaroid of himself looking confused next to a rooster, got in line again. A woman saw Jimmy in line and figured, well, if there's a line, it must be something. She got in line. Two-timer Tom from the feed store saw the woman in line and got behind her, hoping to ask her out. Within 10 minutes, General Beauregard had a line. He had to pay people to do it. He paid the first 3 people, but that gets a line for him. It was illusion management, pure and simple. It was the myth of the old antebellum South played out with poultry and Polaroids. He was manufacturing his own demand. He was creating his own honor by subsidizing it. He made, by my count, negative $12 that afternoon, but when he romped back to the outfit that night, he was a king. He had conquered the county fair. The people, they are clutching for a hero, he announced to the barn cats, and by my honor, I have given them one. He flew up to the porch rail, struck a pose, and screamed his victory cry at the moon, a Shakespearean monologue in 2 parts. Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfuckers.com, bitches. He was in that moment the big chief of his own kindergarten flop.